Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your host, Dustin Rybka. With me this week is Tessa Gilder. Tessa had a strange feeling that her best friend's husband was cheating on her with a famous TikTok star. After Tessa had this feeling, everything went completely fucking apeshit. Totally bananas. Everything exploded. Tessa then went over to TikTok. She told the whole saga in a 6-part story time. I saw it. I decided y'all need to see it. And here we are. This thing is wild. This thing is full of twists and turns. It's also full of lies and bus sex. At the end of the interview, Tessa also goes through the burner. So without further ado, enjoy my conversation with Tessa Gilder.
This week's conversation.
Tessa Gilder, welcome to Sex Party. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm really great, actually. I feel very organized and on top of things, which is rare. So I feel good. Good.
Good. I'm having that day too.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a total vibe, right? I think maybe because like spring is around the corner and everybody's like ready to just, get out there and whatever. Yeah. Okay. So for people who don't know you, they've never seen you, could you introduce yourself, tell them who you are and what you do?
Okay. So I'm Tessa Gilder. I wouldn't really consider myself a TikTok influencer, but I have gone viral on TikTok by sharing some stories. And yeah, I'm a hairstylist. I live in Florida. I'm a mom. I'm all the things.
We love it. Yeah. So I was perusing TikTok and I came across this story time, right? Which I love. Who doesn't? And the more salacious, the better. And there you were, and it was like I think it was like a 5-part, at least what I saw. It was like a 5-part series, right?
Yep.
And I think like I watched part 1, was intrigued. I skipped part 2 because I like to go 1, 3, and then the end. But then I'm like, I don't even want to know how it ends. I want to book her on the show because I just think that like this seems, from what I saw, to be a wild, sexual, crazy story. Mm-hmm. So if you would tell us the story.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so 6 parts actually. Okay. There was just really no leaving out anything. But so how it all began, one of my best friends, she's been my best friend for 12 years now. She met her husband at the same time that I had met my husband. We had kids at the same time. Our lives very much run same pace. They always have. And her and her husband, they did the bus life. They, remodeled a van and started traveling all over the country. They were influencers, so they had a pretty big following on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And they, last summer or 2 summers ago now, they started traveling with and meeting up with other people who were in the bus life community. And one,
the bus life community, I can't even, all right.
The bus lifers. Yeah, I know. So they met up with this couple and another single guy. This couple was kind of the same thing. They were married, redid a bus, traveling all over, and they went and traveled together for 3 months over the summer and posted a lot of videos together, did a lot of ads. They were very close. They would stay on the same property, traveled around. It was kind of like they were just like camping, every single night. And so as they were posting videos, I started noticing right away almost some weird chemistry between my best friend's husband and the woman in the other marriage on the bus. And I'm just kind of like, that was weird. I kind of picked up on it, but just didn't really think anything of it. My friend, they had been married for 7 years or been together for 7 years, 4-year-old daughter. So it was just kind of like, I noticed it, but I dropped it out. Well, fast forward to October of last year, she calls me up. My best friend calls me. She's like, hey, I think Will, my ex-husband, or my husband, sorry, might be having an affair. And we kind of were going through the whole thing of signs, clues. He was, of course, denying the whole thing. just saying that they were friends. There was starting to become some issues between my best friend and her husband. And so there was a little bit of speculation that maybe that was why. But anyways, she ended up leaving the group. She's like, I want to go home back to Florida. I don't want to travel with these people anymore. So they left. So in between this time, my best friend starts going to therapy with her husband. She starts trying to save her marriage. Basically, he was still denying the whole thing, saying that nothing had happened, that they were just friends, that he was more so confiding in her about their marriage rather than there was anything developing. But then Kristen started to find some clues of some text messages that just weren't really, you could tell some things had been deleted. And even the things that he had left up were extremely inappropriate. Like I was like, Kristen, they are definitely fucking. Like there's no way. Like she would say things like, "Oh, your bed is so comfortable." Like there were really clues. Yeah, it's just like, why would you say that? And all while I should mention, while they were traveling together, Kristen, my best friend, and this other woman, they were going out and riding bikes in the morning. They were cooking dinner together. They were friends. So that was why I think she tried to believe both of them, that there was nothing going on and it was just this friendly relationship, but it was shady.
What was her initial, like when she called you or whatever, like what was her initial, like her alarm going off? Like what set that off? Like what did she notice? Like she had to have been like obviously smaller if we're at the text messages now. So like she was just noticing like flirting or.
Yeah. So it started it seems like innocent flirting, but there was one instance in particular where he had started working out with her in the mornings. Yeah. And the other woman was a little too touchy-feely with him. And so that set it up on her radar where she was like, why is she touching him like that? It was like a flirty, like whatever. So she started watching more and her intuition just started, it was ringing the alarm. So that's what led her to start going through the text messages. And he had changed his Apple ID password, swore up and down that he didn't. It was a whole thing. So there was, it was messy. It was super messy. So in between this time of when she left in October, a couple of months had passed. They were kind of in and out of therapy because her husband at the time, he wasn't really that active. He didn't want to do it. He started taking a lot of work trips. He was like never home. And the other woman announced on her TikTok, and I should mention this girl has 2 million followers on TikTok. She has a pretty large following. And she had announced that her and her husband were getting a divorce. So that started really ringing off a lot of alarms for me. A lot of this stuff wasn't adding up, but this is kind of where I got involved because we were kind of playing detective on if something had actually happened, if he had actually had an affair, because he was swearing up and down that it wasn't, but all these little clues weren't adding up and it was driving both of us insane.
Did you in your gut though, like as the best friend, right? Like, were you like, fuck, no, I know that he fucked this chick.
I knew the first video that they posted.
Yeah.
I knew. Yeah.
Did you ever tell her about that? Like, I had a feeling that they were banging.
Oh yeah. That was the first thing that she said. What I was just like, that first video that you put up, I saw some weird chemistry with them. And yeah, it's like, you want to believe the best. I was very close with him. We had a very close relationship, all of us. And so you don't think somebody's capable of doing that. You don't want to believe it, but it was too messy. So at this point, he's going on work trips and not really wanting to do therapy. And at the same time, the other woman was posting on her TikTok that she had left her husband. She starts making these videos and I can tell that she's in Florida. Like, when you're in Florida, which is where my best friend and her husband had gone back home to Florida. And so I start getting involved. I'm watching it and I'm like, she's in Florida. Not only was she in Florida, she was in the same town that they were in. So I was like, why is she there? Then she starts posting TikToks of her wearing his shirt that was another huge alarm. Yeah. And when my best friend confronted him and said, why is she wearing your shirt? He said, oh, I don't know. She must have gotten that from when we were traveling together. And, you know, I've been looking for that shirt, whatever. He was always throwing it out. Yeah. Oh,
so bad.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm emotionally invested because I'm trying to crack the code, like FBI badge activated. I'm ready to solve this mystery. It was really messing with me because it was almost like she was gaslighting my best friend to 2.4 million people on TikTok. Oh, I'm living my best life with me and my dogs, and, you know, all while she's wearing her husband's shirt. And she started posting the same videos. Like, Kristen would post a video, and literally 2 days later, this girl would post almost an identical post. It was weird. She started curling her hair the same way, wearing filters that changed her eyes to my best friend's color eyes. Like, it was starting to get almost a little creepy. But there was no way that there wasn't something going on. So I think her and I both kind of made this pact with each other, you know, where it's like, okay, something's not right, but let's wait for the right opportunity. You know, let's just sit back, get our popcorn, and just wait until we can nail them, you know, basically. So that's exactly what happened. The universe steps in. And one day, this was last summer. So this whole entire period had been a 9-month period long.
Okay. Yeah. I was just going to ask. Yeah. But sometimes you have to wait and get the popcorn. You're so right. Because if you force shit, then you're not really catching someone red-handed. Exactly. It's more like entrapment, you know? Exactly.
And he was lying about anything already. So it's just, we couldn't trust anything he was going to say. So Kristen, my best friend, had done a basically like a no plastic free July video for this company. And they had reached out and they're like, we love the video. Can you please send it to us through the WhatsApp? She didn't have the WhatsApp. She went onto her husband's phone, who was taking a shower at the time. And she goes to open it and it's on airplane mode. And so she goes into the shower and she's like, why is your phone on airplane mode? And he immediately turns off the shower, comes out trying to get his phone. And she's like, stop right there. They have a 4-year-old. So she left him with her, goes outside, gets on the WhatsApp. First thing that pops up is a message from the girl saying, I miss you. I know that I've said this so many times before, but I feel like the day that we can finally be together again is the day that I'll be able to breathe. Call me when you're done. I'm at Chiba, which is it's Chiba Hut. It's a sandwich place, literally 5 seconds away from where they were living. So she knew she was here. We all knew, you know? So anyway,
fucking Chiba Hut, man.
Fucking Chiba Hut. Why you gotta ruin Chiba Hut?
For real. God damn it.
So she calls immediately from his phone, calls the other woman. She answers it and it's on, FaceTime. The other woman sees her, immediately hangs up. So she calls back and the other girl goes, what do you want? It's like, all anybody has ever wanted is the truth. Just tell the truth. At this point, my friend had been literally through the worst heartbreak imaginable because her intuition and everything inside of her was telling her, this person's cheating on me. And the one person that she's supposed to love and believe in and trust is telling her that her intuition is wrong and that she's crazy. And this was a huge thing for both of us, was like the gaslighting on her was pretty, it was pretty intense. They literally made her out to believe she was crazy. So anyway, so my friend's like, I just want the truth. Tell me where you are. Let's meet up. I want you to tell me everything. So she's like, meet me at the pier right now. They go and they meet up at the pier. You could throw rocks.
The pier, though, this already sounds dangerous. What
oh my
the
God.
fuck?
Oh, the whole time. And we share each other's location. So the whole time I'm like watching her location. I'm like, I don't want you meeting this girl, by yourself. I'm scared she's going to get murdered. I'm watching.
At the pier. Yeah. This sounds like a fucking episode of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something, meet me at the pier at 11 o'clock. Jesus. Okay. So you're watching the phone nervously.
I'm watching the phone, waiting for her to call me. Yeah, I'm texting her in between. Hey, let me make sure that you're okay. Anyways, she was there for like an hour talking to her. So here's what we find out. Because the girl was ready to spill it all, because the narrative that was built was that he was trying to leave my best friend, but she was manipulating him into threatening to take custody away and, basically was making Kristen look like she was crazy and that he couldn't leave her. So this other woman kind of felt like she had a leg up on Kristen. She kind of felt like she was the one that was with him, not her. So she's like ready to do the damage. So she's like, we started having an affair 2 weeks into travel. Mind you, they traveled together for 3 months. 2 weeks into traveling, they started having an affair. He would say that he was at the other bus. And so many people ask me this. They're like, how do you cheat when you live in a bus?
Sure.
They were going out to the woods. They were going behind the bus while my friend would be asleep at night with their daughter. He would sneak out. Yeah, he would say that he was playing video games with the other single guy when really he was, within distance.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Behind the bus. That's fucking ballsy.
Behind the bus. Yeah.
That's ballsy as fuck.
Right? Messy.
That's really messy.
And there's a child.
That's the other part that I was going to say is like, it's dawning on me that there's just one kid that's running around. But still, they sneak out and follow you around and whatever. Jesus.
Yeah. Sickening. So start having the affair 2 weeks in. They're in love. They're twin flames. They had been trying to get pregnant. She's like, we have sex 8 or 9 times every time we see each other. We've been trying to get pregnant. We're going to run off to Idaho. He doesn't love you anymore. He loves me. You need to let him go. And my best friend is just like, we have been having sex this entire time. They never stopped having sex. And he had told the other woman that they hadn't had sex in a year, which was a lie. They were still doing normal things, all the same things. Mm-hmm. And so, when she found that out, that they had still been sleeping together, she immediately starts having a panic attack. She starts crying. She's shaking. She's like, he lied to me. And it's like, really? He lied to you.
What'd you expect?
Yeah.
At the pier.
Yeah.
What the fuck? This is why this story is so good. And I could tell like it was like the way, because sometimes you watch story times on TikTok, and I'm not talking shit about anybody because I think they're all good. Even the bad ones are great. But people don't have like they're like, oh, and then and I got a banana that day and I'm allergic. And it's like, whoa. You were like, boom, 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 boom. And at the end of it, people are like scrolling, trying to find. So this is why this is so great, because there are twists and turns, but the way you tell it is really, really great.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I think that there's no room for little small things because there's so much to unpack. And I was so emotionally involved in this situation for my best friend. I'm like,
you're living it.
Yeah, we were trying to crack the code the entire time. And what blew my mind was not only that they had been having an affair, but she was going on TikTok for these 9 months. She had been hiding out in basically the backyard of like a trailer trash, like a junkyard. She had her bus parked in a junkyard in BFE on this like lake that was it was trashy, but she made her whole content look like she was living somewhere great and living her best life, when really she was hiding out in a junkyard for 9 months, having an affair with a married man. And she was bringing all of her followers into believing that she's some inspirational person. So I'm pissed. I am like, and not only that, but then when she confronts her, she acts like she's the one who just got cheated on. She's like, oh, he lied to me. He's been cheating on me. So anyway, so that day that they had met up at the pier, the other woman told Kristen, my best friend, that it was their 1 year anniversary. She's like, this is actually our 1 year anniversary. just dropping bombs and having no remorse for the fact that she was destroying a family, destroying a marriage. She was ready to throw the daggers. Oh, we're having sex 8 to 9 times a day. Do you really have to tell her that to like hurt her, you know, like as if this wasn't enough?
Yeah.
So at this point, Kristen, you know, she's like, you're coming back to the bus with me. We're going to confront him together. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Back to the bus.
Energy. Yeah. So she brings her back. And immediately it's like hoedown. Like she's hysterically crying. My best friend is pissed. She has no emotions because she's been crying for 9 months. At this point, it's like, fucking, at least I know the truth now. You know, it's almost like a million bricks off of her shoulders. So she's just kind of like ready for the whole thing to get started. And her husband immediately turns his back to the other woman and gets to Kristen. And he's like, please don't leave me. Work this out with me. He has the other woman is standing back there. She's screaming at him. But, you know, the 4-year-old was there. So Kristen takes the 4-year-old. She's like, I'm not going to keep her in this environment. I'm going to go drop her off somewhere safe and I'll come back. So she leaves them two there together, which I'm just like, huh? So that's when she calls me and she's telling me all this. And I'm hysterically crying because I'm just like, I mean, you don't want to believe it, but all these like just all the facts were extremely disturbing. And, you know, just for their daughter too, really breaks my heart. But anyway, so they had stayed together, the other woman and my friend's ex-husband. They stayed together in the bus. Kristen goes and drops off her daughter. She comes back and they had gone out to like a lake or whatever, and they were talking. They were both crying. Kristen's standing back and she's waiting for him to come back. The other woman leaves. Her husband comes up to her and he says, you know, she has been blackmailing me, telling me that, you know, she's going to tell everybody about what's happening if I don't stay with her. And I'm so relieved to finally have this off of me and to finally get rid of her. Please don't leave me. I want to work this out with you. I love you. And Kristen's just like, it's not gonna fucking happen. I'm divorcing you and I'm taking half of everything. Like this is not up for discussion. So she leaves. She then gets in touch with the other woman, and the other woman is like, they basically are comparing stories with what happened after. And what he said to her, the other woman, he said, I'm gonna go and work on myself in hopes that I can come back to you and we can be together again. He leaves that conversation, walks into the bus with Kristen and says, she was blackmailing me. I'm finally glad to get rid of her. Let's do this. I was just like, okay, burn this motherfucker to the ground. Like, I don't care. I don't care if he's my favorite little 4-year-old's father. I'm going to fucking take him down.
Yeah.
So, of course, like my friend, and this is the type of person that she is, throughout that entire 9 months of feeling like everything was falling apart and her person, it's like this ultimate betrayal, right? She can't trust her intuition. She knows that something's going on. She's being lied to, gaslit. She took the approach to really dive in on herself and grow as a person. Like, hey, maybe it is me. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I need to work on these things. So she did it. She was very public about how she was trying to fight for her marriage and be a better person. So when that all came out, she had that kind of Buddha approach where she was like, you know, I was like, how could you leave them there? Like, how are you so calm about this? You know, like, I'm the one who's hysterically crying. Like, this is you and your marriage. And she's like, I don't care anymore. Like, let them be together. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. You know, and that's when she started crying, when she was just like, I'm done. And so she's like, you know, I'm going to let karma get them. And I was like, I love that for you. You can sit back and let karma get them, but I'm going to also come for them because this bitch just put out a fucking lie. Not only did she destroy a family, but 2.4 million people thinking she's living some inspirational life. We're going to bring it down. So mind you, TikTok I used it for fun. A hairstylist. It was just a fun thing. I had 53 followers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's probably no real way that this video is going to go viral, but I'm going to at least put it out there and I'm going to just say it. And if 100 people see it, I'll be able to sleep tonight, just knowing that I just did one little, dagger. And I told her ex-husband that day, I texted him and I said, I've gone to bat for you. I've stood by your side for 7 years. I said, let me make one thing clear. I don't care that you're Rome's father, which is their daughter's name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that I considered you a best friend. I don't care about anything anymore. I'm letting you know that karma's going to get your ass, and I'm going to make sure that I'm there to watch it. I wrote him a whole long thing. Like, I'm going to fucking let you have it. So it was a little bit of a revenge mode, but I think my best friend just needed somebody like that in her corner because she wasn't going to do it. She'd given so much fucking energy that I was just like, let me take this for you. So I put out this TikTok that was basically, it was a Taylor Swift song, the Look What You Made Me Do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, after you find out that your best friend's husband has been having an affair with a famous TikTok star, this song hits different. I post it, I close the app, I go to work. I'm doing a client, it takes like 3 hours. I go back to my phone and it has blown up. I have people that I hadn't talked to since like high school messaging me like, oh my fucking God, I just saw your TikTok. I go on there and it was skyrocketing. It was blowing up. Everybody wanted the story time. So at this point, I had like thousands of followers, thousands of people running here. It got 1 million views. So that's what I did the story time. Laid it all online, 6 parts, no bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, well, I have follow-ups. So, no, I mean, first of all, again, like, applause for like how you tell it, because you will take little beats and like elaborate a little bit, but you never go off on like an allergy or, oh, there was a guy there who had a cowboy hat. It was real, whatever. And I think that is like the sign of a good storyteller. And I think, storytellers are the most important thing in culture, I think, with anything. I mean, that's why TikTok and even sometimes Instagram is like really, really profound, because people tell stories. And so I applaud you for telling a good one. And two, like, see, I am pro revenge. And then, they say if you go searching for revenge, dig 2 graves. Fuck that shit. Dig 100 and get rid of everyone. Like, because sometimes you really need to actually see the person or persons that have fucked you up pay the goddamn price. And like, whether it's a politician or it's your stepfather or whomever, and you just see somebody constantly getting away with it over and over and over again. I like to go into silent mode, right? So maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 5 years. But when I have an opportunity to fuck you over, you won't even know it's me. But I'll make sure that you do in the end, because that's what I believe. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, me too.
I think that we need more vengeance, because there's not enough justice.
Well, that's how I feel too. Like, for me, I was like, what are they going to do? They're going to just go off and be together. And the only person that's going to be left with all the repercussions of that is my best friend and her daughter. If we don't do something about it, how are they going to pay for it? And in that time, I forgot to mention, while they were at the pier, I had gone on to this other woman's TikTok account, and all the people, I mean, I had 100 screenshots because I screenshot them all and sent them to Kristen. But I had gone on every single comment that I could find where somebody said, oh, you're such an inspiration, or, oh, I love your life. I would be like, tell the truth of what actually happened. Maybe once you find out that she's a home wrecking whore, you won't think that. So I'm trolling her as much as I can in that time that she's at the pier, because I know as soon as she sees it, she's going to block me and comment, turn off her comments, which she did. She turned off all of her comments. She deleted pretty much all of the videos that she had made to gaslight my best friend in that time. So it was really nothing of her face anymore. It was just like of her dogs and this lie that she was living.
Junkyard.
she went into hiding mode. She went into total just little bitched out. She didn't want to step up to the plate. She made fake accounts and tried to troll my story time. And we all knew it was her. Even people who didn't know her were like, okay, well, this is embarrassing because it's clearly the other woman, trying to defend herself. Like, oh, he was the one who pursued me, like after you guys left, he came back. And it's like, you're just as guilty. You are just as guilty as he is. I mean, yeah, I know it was his marriage, but she was a friend. She traveled with her. She knew they were married.
Yeah.
So after all of this came out, obviously, she leaves her husband and they weren't into contact. Well, I kind of had some things with my life totally fall apart right after that. So I ended up moving down. I was living out in Denver and I ended up moving down here to Florida in with Kristen. So Kristen and I are now living together. And about a couple of weeks after I was here, Kristen drives by the same junkyard that she was once parked at. Mm-hmm. And she goes, I think that she's back. And so I'm like, well, I'm about to roll up. So I go rolling up through the junkyard, have my little phone out. I take a video of the whole thing. Sure enough, it's her. We ask him, we're like, are you guys back together? He denies. He's like, I didn't even know she was here until you said it. Okay, yeah. So just again, like still lying. Right. So since all of this has happened, they have finalized their divorce, and that girl, the other woman, has been back here. She's living in the junkyard, and they are back together. They are back together, and she's hiding out still. She won't really post anything. She did a soft launch on Instagram last week saying, I really lost myself, but I really found Jesus and he forgives me. And I was just like, you are not going to take this road. Don't bring Jesus into this. Jesus might forgive you, but we don't. The least thing that you could do is to come back and acknowledge what you've done, because we all know. Don't try to just like weasel your way back in with this manipulative story of, I really fucked up, but Jesus forgives. It's like, own what you did, girl. Own what you did. But what gets me is she's living in our town. She's
in the junkyard.
In the junkyard.
I mean, do you guys think that she's in there like plotting some sort of revenge or something? Like, why would they stay in town? Maybe because the daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, they have to stay here. That's part of their legal agreement is that, they'll stay in Florida. But me, I'm just like, why the junkyard? Why the same town that we live in? And the ex-husband, he doesn't even live in the same town. He lives an hour away. Why not go live where he lives? Why are you still, it's like my best friend for a while didn't even want to go to places like the pier or go out to big events because she was worried that she was going to run into her. Where meanwhile, I'm like, I hope I run into her tonight. I would love to look her in the eye and be like, you got a lot of nerve coming back here.
Yeah, you can't even go to Chiba Hut. It's not the same. No. She's ruined the whole fucking town, right?
No, I have not been able to go to Chiba Hut once. I used to go to Chiba Hut weekly when I lived out in Denver.
Fuck, that sucks so bad.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so in the aftermath, they are together. He lives an hour away, and she lives in the junkyard closer to the now ex-wife, your friend, which is just super bizarre. I mean, when she was posting shit in his shirt and all that and like curling her hair and doing like the single white female weirdness, right? Like that is, do you guys have those like for proof? Like did someone screen record those or?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Cause
yeah. I screen recorded everything because I knew it was all going to disappear. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Well, because that's not even narcissistic. That's fucking psychopath shit. And like taking shots at someone like through like you're basically like sub TikToking someone, but like in the shirt with the hair. It's really fucking, and for what purpose? Just because like she didn't like her?
Right. I think she wanted to send a message. I think, obviously she had fallen in love with him. So she wanted him. She wanted to be with him. And she wanted to let Kristen know without really telling her, I got your man. What kind of person does that?
Well, apparently the Junkyard dog does. I mean, come on, right? What the fuck? Do you want to say who it is, or do you want to avoid that?
Yeah, no, we can totally say who it is. Her name is Frankie.
Okay.
Her account is Happy Home Bodies.
Oh God.
Which we now call her Happy Homewrecker.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, what was the best part about it was, the Taylor Frankie Paul. I don't know if you knew that whole saga, but it was the mom talk Mormon influencer who had basically was a swinger. And so this was like, people were trying to figure out this scandal. So at first, a lot of people thought maybe it was her. So I think it got a lot of traction because of that.
Yeah.
This girl was like mega famous. And so people went to work right away. It's actually kind of incredible, like how people are on TikTok. All I said was that she turned off her comments and people found her right away.
Yeah.
That's how they knew. I did talk to a lawyer before I posted all of this just because I wanted to make sure that it was okay. And I got free reign to post it because it was just a story and I was telling the truth. And so it's totally fine to say names, but her name is Francesca, goes by Frankie.
We'll find her. We'll take it. I'm sure everybody that listens to this or watches this is going to fucking be on that shit. They're going to have a lot to say about this, which is great, which is really, really great. Is your friend going to allow the father to see the daughter around Frankie or no?
So
that's weird, behind the bus and all that shit. I mean, it's like, that's like a weird scenario,
Yeah, and it's weird and it's really sad because, this is the reality about something like this. Like, yeah, it's tea and it's juicy gossip and it really fucking pisses you off. But it's also really heartbreaking because these are the things that now Kristen has to live through for the rest of her life. And, that it was like the one thing that she asked, like, date anybody, just not her. Don't go back to her. I don't. And so at first that was in their divorce agreement, was that Frankie was not allowed to be with Rome. And Will, her ex-husband at that time, had agreed to it because he wasn't back with Frankie. But once he became back with Frankie, he would not agree to those terms anymore. So there will inevitably be, I'm sure, if they continue this. I just feel like they're so toxic that it's probably not going to last for very long. But I think, yes, he will eventually have her around Rome. And I'm not really sure how it's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, you guys got to stay on your detective work. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean.
Oh, and I do. I ask her all kinds of questions when she gets home. It's like very nonchalant, but I want to know because he's not going to tell her. He's not going to tell her.
No, he's going to lie. I mean, and that's like, that is such a narcissistic thing, but that's like amplified because if you're like repeating that cycle, I mean, that's, I'm not a narcissist expert, but I have a couple of them on the show and they're amazing. And so like, I just recently recorded an episode about the cycle, right? Where it just, it's like clockwork and it's I'm sorry. And then they go and cheat and whatever. And then, I'm sorry. And it's like a thing. So this sounds like that, but like amplified to a degree where you're telling such drastic lies. And I feel like it's funny, but at the same time, like, it's so weird that even when someone's caught, right, and they're in that like red-handed mode, they're like, that's not my phone. Like, yeah, it's your, shit like that. Like the airplane mode thing, kind of like a slick little thing there, but like not the first person to do it. Like she's going to know what the fuck, Yeah. And it just feels like, so I guess what I would say with all of that's on the table, right, is if people are doing things like that, if they are never going to tell the truth, if they are putting their phone on airplane mode, right, and you're the perfect person to ask. Can you give some tips on how to be a better detective, how to be the Dark Knight, and like find about cheating, find people that are doing other things? Because everybody knows the basics, and I know like, you know, I've been fucking chased around by women and he's with someone. I mean, that's happened to me, you know, like back in the day or whatever. So like there's that. My mom chased my dad around, so whatever. But like now with like TikTok, right? And you were like on it. So like what are some tips to be a better detective to get to the bottom of it sooner?
The biggest thing that I learned from all of this, and don't take this offensively because it's kind of a jab at men, but
That's all good.
Men, what I have found out, are so stupid that they will tell you whatever they want with their words, but their actions will say it all. So the actions of he changed his Apple ID and then denied it. There was text messages that were deleted, but he denied it and made it kind of look like it was something else. Had his phone on airplane mode. If a guy is doing that, first of all, if a guy is changing his password, a man who has nothing to hide doesn't do A, B, C, and D. So I think you just have to know. I think the biggest thing that we both took away from this was like, you have to trust your intuition and you have to trust that those little things that they're doing are not for nothing. I think if she would have stepped back emotionally and just looked at A, B, C, and D, you know, airplane mode, all of these things, and not had his voice in her mind of saying, I'm not doing anything. I love you. I want to be with you. I think she could have found it way sooner. But I think she had that kind of push and pull of her head and her heart. And I think a lot of women have that. We have that because we want to believe that they're not doing it, right? It's like they tell you that they're not, and you hope that they're not. But again, a man who has nothing to hide isn't going to be doing this shit. So I think if there's any little inkling, and, you know, I'm a hairstylist, so I hear all the time from clients or, you know, they'll be watching their camera, you know, at home, checking to see what's going on at home. And I'm like, honey, if there's some sort of inkling there, there's something going on, you know? So I think that's my biggest piece of advice from that is how to find it sooner is you got to turn off your fucking heart and you got to read the facts.
Yeah, you have to take the emotion out of it. I know that's so much easier said than done because it's emotion. But man, like you can get to the bottom of something quick if you really want to, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess, okay, follow up then. Do you think, like, why are men so stupid, right? Like, are we stupid because is it just, it can't just be about the pussy. It can't be like, oh, I'm lying because, but is it like, because I sort of think that it's partially about sex, but also like this like high horse, like the need to be right. And when those things combine, maybe, or do you have a different viewpoint on it?
Well, I will say the stupid comment, I meant more like the things that he did, you know, changing his Apple ID and then saying that he didn't. I'm
exactly.
like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, you can't really think that we're going to fall for that, you know?
Right.
Like that. Like, it was just so stupid to me. All the things that he did. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I think men in general, especially when it comes to cheating, and I think in their situation, you know, one of the things that we learned about Will is that he does have a lying problem. And I think Will and Frankie both, they get off, and it's sick, really. They get off on the lie and the secret of, you know, of nobody knows and we're hiding. And that weirdly draws people to cheat, which I can't understand it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't live my life like that. But some people do. And I think that that's a narcissistic trait. And I think that they're both narcissists. Frankie is no doubt a narcissist. A lot of people have come forward in the bus community saying, you know, I didn't speak up because I didn't want to draw attention to myself, but this girl is fucked. Like, she has done, I had people from her high school message me and be like, oh, she stole my boyfriend back in high school. So I think it just happened to be by chance that two cheating liars joined forces.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fucked for them because at some point, right, like they could potentially turn on each other and have a little spy versus spy moment, and that's not good. That's not good at all. Like,
right. It almost is. It's almost Like I want to get my popcorn and just wait.
Oh yeah, me too.
For when it happens. Yeah. It's like, cause it's gonna happen.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like in general, like when you do start a relationship in that way, right? Like that's not that if that's on the back of your mind, oh shit, this is a risk. Like how much do I trust this person? Like we lied our way into this relationship. Maybe that's going to turn on me someday. That's no way to go through a relationship at all, to have that fucking shit in your chest. And also too, what I would say, to spin it back to your friend, having that, like you said, all those bricks on you, that's no way to go through a relationship either. So you did say, like we did say, take the emotion out of it, right? Do you have any tips for women or men that are like, want to get to the heart of the matter and are ready for the hurt? How do they just rip that shit off and not go through 9 months of like snooping and shit? Is there any tips you have for that?
Yeah, I will say, I think that the scariest part of the reason why you don't want to know the truth is because you're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid of what's on the other side. When me and this person do end and I know the truth, what's it going to be like? And it's terrifying, especially when you build a life with somebody, you have a kid with somebody. The idea of ripping that all apart, becoming a single mom, it's terrifying. I think the biggest piece of advice is to know that sometimes the scariest part is that you stay. What's waiting for you on the other side could be 100 times immensely better. And you'll never know if you don't just take that leap. It's better to know and live in the truth than it is to just have somebody by your side. And maybe some people want that, but I don't want that. My best friend definitely didn't want that. You want to live with the truth. You want to know that the person that you're laying down with every single night is your person. They're not lying to you. You know, I mean, that's how you want to live your life. But I think that it's scary. You know, you're going to lose that person, start over. You have to just know that that's all bullshit. It doesn't matter, because once those bricks are gone, you like to see my best friend now. She is thriving. There had been things that I noticed about her throughout the years of it. Just felt like she's such a beautiful girl. I mean, she's stunning. I had felt like I could just kind of tell in some of her pictures that she wasn't happy. She looked different. And especially going throughout that whole journey of trying to figure out, feeling she couldn't trust her intuition and she's being gaslit and manipulated. She was not the same person. She was constantly sick. She was never present. She was always worried. And the minute that she found the truth, she became the happiest person I have ever seen her be, because she's living in her truth now and she doesn't have a bunch of fucked up people weighing her down. So I think just empowering people to know that you're going to be all right. And if not, you're going to be a million times better. Mm-hmm. That's the motive, right? Like, have your own back. Like, fuck a partner having your back. If they're lying to you and cheating on you, it's not worth it. What's waiting for you on the other side, I promise, it's a million times better.
Yeah, and that's not a fucking partner. That's an enemy. That's a villain. Right? That's someone in the inside of your house burning, stealing things. Like, what the fuck? Fuck that.
Dude, exactly. I'm not living like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, you have to almost choose your level of fear or level of discomfort. Yeah. And like, you know, it's one of my favorite sayings, but people will choose to suffer rather than face the unknown. And that's fucked up. That is fucked up. But I'm happy for your friend. And I mean, that's amazing. She got out of it, and she's really lucky to have a friend like you. I want to talk briefly about what it felt like to go viral, because I had one reel or TikTok hit 1 million, right? And it was like, what? That one is like whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? And it was like, it was kind of spooky, right? So I can't imagine, and I want the audience to really hear, what were you anxious? Were you just excited? Were you trying to get back to every single person, or was there a point where you're just like, fuck it, I can't keep up with this? Or
no. My motive from the very beginning was revenge and karma. So there was this immense amount of happiness that it brought me. For my best friend, really, it had nothing to do with me. And I said that in the story time. Don't follow me. I'm not interesting. I just had a baby. I'm not even really on. Follow my best friend. She's the one who's like a content creator. She's an amazing person. I want you guys to go build her up. And she's built this community. But it wasn't an anxious thing. I did feel a little pressure to get the story out because people were like, hello, story time. And I'm like, I have a business. I have 2 kids. Like, I just had 53 followers yesterday. Like, give me a minute. There was a little bit of that. There was a little bit of, people can be so mean on TikTok. So I was a little nervous of like, people were going to, talk shit or whatever, but I got nothing but positive support. And I went back to the original video and I said, story time's up. Let's drink the tea. I commented back to as many people as I could to bring them all back there. And it just, it was powered by revenge and karma. So it was amazing for me.
No, that is, and it can be. Like your level of involvement is decided by you, and so I think it's valuable to hear that story in this day and age because you never know when you put something out what it's gonna do. It might not. Holy shit, that one like with me, right? Yeah. To close this off, I have this segment. It's called The Burner. They are more juicy, but kind of like just like fun, like rapid fire questions. You can choose to go through it or you can say, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do it. So it's totally up to you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Question 1. Name something you wish men would stop doing.
Sticking their dick in other women when they're in a relationship.
Love it. Love it. Name something you wish women would stop doing.
Trusting men over their intuition.
Okay. Yeah, that is a big one, right? Name something you wish you would stop doing.
Running my mouth on social media.
No, we can't have that.
No.
Okay. Have you ever been to a sex party in real life?
Yes, a couple.
Okay.
Well, I should say a sex toy party. You mean like an orgy?
So I think what would qualify as a sex party is like, it could be an orgy. It could be like a swinger thing. It could be like that. So
no swinger thing, just toys.
Okay, just toys. Name a person, dead or alive. You get to spend 24 hours with them. You get to hook up with them. It can be anybody, but only for 24 hours, and they evaporate or something. I don't know.
Man,
it's a tough one. People get hung up on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I could go either way. Can it be a couple?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Favorite guilty pleasure. It does not have to be sexual. It can be fucking gumdrops or some whatever the fuck.
Vanderpump Rules.
Okay, that's a good one. Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
NSYNC.
Spice Girls or the Pussycat Dolls?
Spice Girls.
This question is, can you tell us a crazy sex story? But we've already done that in this episode, so we're moving on. Favorite comfort movie or show? Like, are you like falling asleep to The Office or something, or what's your thing?
Probably Yellowstone.
Okay. All right. Most used app on your phone?
TikTok.
Flaming Hot or probably not? Are you a fan of like the Flaming Hot snacks and shit?
Oh yeah, Flaming Hot Cheetos all the way.
Okay, yeah. Best kind of music to have sex to?
Jhené Aiko, whatever.
Yeah. That's fucking, that's really great shit. Do you have a Finsta account, a fake Instagram account?
Yes.
Okay. Final question. You don't have to say who it is, but make a statement to one of your exes.
No.
Best for last.
Okay.
I told you they were juicier questions.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. A statement to one of my exes.
Yeah. Just say something to one of your exes.
Well,
see you at the pier.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Chiba Hut, bitch.
Yeah, for real.
God, I mean, that's tough. I don't really know. I think what I would say to probably all my exes is, I told you. I mean, there's nothing better than a good "I told you so," right? Yeah.
Fuck them.
You're never gonna find better. Like, you did it, you tried, and now you're coming back. They've all done it. It's just it's like, no, I told you. Exactly.
Fuck them. Tessa Gilder, thank you for being on Sex Party. Let's let's tell all the people that are listening and watching where they can find you, where they can support you, where they can, continue the story. Should it continue? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, it might. There might be some follow-up here. So my handle for both Instagram and TikTok is Tessa Ryn. It's RYN. And that's it. You can find me there. Both places.
We'll make sure it's linked in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. This was fucking awesome. Yeah, I'd love to have you back. If the story continues, we'll jump right on it too. So we'll figure something out. Yeah, you're great.
I love it.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Totally. See you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I mean, was that not a fucking blast and a total shit show all in one? Thank you, Tessa Gilder, for being my guest this week on Sex Party. If you guys are loving guests like Tessa, if you want more guests like Tessa, if you're still on board with all my shenanigans, you want to show some love, some appreciation, some desire for more Sex Party. If you're listening on platforms like Apple and Spotify, you could subscribe to the show. That's the most important. You could leave a rating. You could leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. I see you. You mean everything. If you're watching on YouTube, you could subscribe to the channel. You could like the video. You could leave a comment. It's much appreciated. You don't have to do anything. You know where to find me in the DMs on Instagram anytime. And I will see you right back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at Sex Party FM. Follow Dustin at Dustin Rybka.